What's going on, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Knuckle Game Podcast, your home for in-depth combat sports analysis, fighter breakdowns, and everything happening inside the cage. This episode is sponsored by our sponsor, Juggernaut Snacks, Knuckle Sandwich, the premium combat sports snack that delivers a sweet punch in the mouth, built for fighters, fans, and champions. Pre-order yours today at juggernautsnacks.com. Snack like a champion, not a competitor. So we're going to jump right in, man. Rafael Fiziev reminded the MMA world exactly why was once considered one of the UFC's most dangerous lightweight. Man, fighting in front of his home crowd of Baku. What's it called? Azerbaijan. I mean, Fiziev delivered one of the most spectacular knockouts of this year with the spinning wheel kick. That finish over Manuel Torres, who was definitely considered a surging contender. In this episode of the Knuckle Game Podcast, we're going to break down both fighters' previous three fights. We're going to analyze how their careers collided. We're going to revisit Fiziev's battle with Justin Gaethje and examine how his confidence changed after that loss. Then we're going to dissect every moment of Fiziev versus Torres, the main event round by round. We're also going to discuss the victory, what this victory means to Fiziev, to his title aspirations, and what Manuel Torres must do to bounce back after suffering the biggest loss or the biggest setback of his UFC career. The story really begins with Justin Gaethje. Fiziev Gaethje 2. Fiziev stepped in on short notice for the rematch after originally losing to Gaethje by a razor-sharp majority decision in their first meeting back in, I think it was 2023. The second fight was different, though. Gaethje controlled the pace. He pressured. He mixed boxing in with leg kicks. He forced Fiziev to move backwards. While Fiziev landed flashy combinations and sharp counters, Gaethje consistently won the exchanges and earned a unanimous decision. And it wasn't a bad performance for Fiziev, but he simply couldn't outwork one of the best pressure fighters in the division, Justin Gaethje. Then Fiziev faced, who was it? Mauricio Rufy. Man, that was one of the most difficult nights of Fiziev's career. I mean, Mauricio, he used his speed, his movement, his explosive striking, and Fiziev looked hesitant. Instead of leading the exchanges, he spent too much time reacting. I mean, in my opinion. Eventually, Rufy found the finish with a KO. I think it was I can't remember the KO, but I know he knocked him out. And that left many fans wondering whether Fiziev was still the elite striker that we had seen in earlier years. Then came Manuel Torres. That sets the stage for basically the fight with Mauricio Rufy, the loss to Mauricio Rufy set the stage for UFC Baku, fighting at home, career crossroads, lose again, and suddenly you're no longer viewed as a contender. Win, and Fiziev's right back in the conversation. So let's look at Manuel Torres' last three fights. His last three fights was Drew Dober, Grant Dawson, and Ignacio Bahamondes. And Torres, when he entered the fight with Drew Dober, he had tremendous momentum. Torres's victory over Drew Dober, it turned heads. It made people start noticing Manuel Torres. Everyone knows who Dober is, his incredible durability, and Torres didn't care about any of that. He overwhelmed him with speed and power before scoring another first round knockout. Um, then came Grant Dawson. Many believe that Dawson's wrestling would expose Torres, but instead, Torres stuffed enough takedowns. He landed devastating punches, and he earned another first round finish. Now, that performance convinced many people that he was ready for elite competition. So the UFC said, okay, they put him with Inacio Bahamondes before Torres beat Dawson and Dober. He had lost to Inacio, um, and that fight exposed something important. It made people question whether or not if Torres couldn't overwhelm opponents immediately, would he become more vulnerable in the later rounds? His defense wasn't nearly as sharp once opponents had weathered his initial storm. So, it left a lot of questions, a lot of questions to be answered, or showed that the fighters or revealed to fighters, this guy has a few holes in his game. But on the other hand, now let's discuss the strengths of Fiziev and the strengths of Torres. Now, Fiziev's his strengths are elite Muay Thai, one of the best kickers in MMA. He has excellent head movement, devastating body attacks, creative spinning techniques, outstanding takedown defense, and experience against elite lightweights. Now, his weaknesses are sometimes he waits too long, he can become overly defensive, and he has struggled when pressured relentlessly by volume strikers. After several losses, his confidence appeared to become a factor. So that's my take on Fiziev in a nutshell. Manuel Torres, he's explosive, he's aggressive, fantastic finishing. He has fantastic finishing instinct, excellent killer mentality. Uh, he has serious, heavy combinations, dangerous elbows, and he's a fast starter. Now, his weaknesses, sometimes he can overcommit and leave openings. He hasn't consistently shown the ability to fight deep into longer tactical fights. And much of his success comes from ending fights before opponents can make adjustments. Now, why this fight makes sense? This matchup was perfect. It was perfect because Torres represented the future, and Fiziev represented proven elite experience. One fighter trying to arrive, and one fighter trying to prove he never left. So that's what made this fight, really interesting for me. Let's go back to Fiziev and Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, I believe, changed Rafael Fiziev. Here's something many fans overlook. Even though Gaethje beat Fiziev twice, those fights also prove something. They prove that Fiziev belongs among the division elite. He pushed Gaethje in a competitive exchange, and he showed that he could stand with one of the toughest fighters in the UFC or in the UFC history. Ironically, Fiziev later said that watching Gaethje's recent championship success against Ilya helped him restore his own confidence after the knockout loss to Mauricio Rufy. So sometimes seeing a former opponent reach the top reminds you that you belong there too. So good for him. That was an outstanding mindset, man, to have. So let's jump right in. Let's break down the fight, man. Let's break down round one. Torres started exactly how everyone expected. Fast, pressure, sharp jab, forward movement. He wanted another early finish. Fiziev remained patient, no panic, excellent footwork. He mixed in calf kicks, controlled the distance. He even secured a takedown to keep Torres thinking. instead of fighting Torres's fight, standing there trying to bang and getting caught with something. Fiziev forced Torres to solve different problems by the end of round one. So Torres had some success, but Fiziev appeared calmer and the momentum was beginning to shift. Now, round two, only 2 seconds into the round, everything changed. Fiziev disguised an attack beautifully. He launched a spinning wheel kick and it landed flush. Torres tried to back out of it and to block it, but it was too late. His legs gave out immediately. Fiziev swarmed him with punches. Referee Mark Gardner jumped in, fight over. Just 15 seconds into the second round, into round two. So I'd say that is one of the best knockouts this year. Before we continue with the fight breakdown, again, I wanna mention our sponsor. This episode was brought to you by Juggernaut Snacks. Whether you're leaving the gym, watching the UFC with friends, or in need of a premium snack after training, Juggernaut Snack delivers championship flavor. Every knuckle sandwich is handcrafted with buttery shortbread cookies, cream cashew nougat, real European fruit jam, rich caramel, crunchy nuts, and covered with smooth milk chocolate. This isn't a protein bar. This isn't another energy snack. It's a sweet punch in the mouth. Visit juggernautsnacks.com and secure your first drop, limited batch, while supplies last. Juggernaut Snacks, knuckle sandwich. Snack like a champion, not a competitor. Now back to the fights. Let's get into the technical breakdown. The knockout wasn't luck. It was set up. Through round one, Fiziev conditioned Torres to expect conventional kicks. The front kick, the teep kick, the low kicks, and his movement. Then the spinning kick came from the exact angle that Torres wasn't prepared for. Elite striking. That was elite striking. Elite striking is about creating angles. It's about creating reactions. And Fiziev did exactly. Now, what does this mean? This victory means everything. It stops the losing streak. It reminds fans why Fiziev became one of the division's most respected strikers. Most importantly, it restores belief. Confidence changes fighters. A confident Rafael Fiziev is dangerous for anyone at the 155-pound division. He's already expressed interest in chasing another big name rather than immediately claiming title contention. What this loss means to Manuel Torres. This isn't the end. It's far from it. Torres remains incredibly dangerous. He's still young, still explosive, still possesses legitimate knockout power. But this fight exposed areas that must be improved. His patience, his defense awareness, adjustments once opponents survive the opening minutes. If he develops those skills, he absolutely remains a future contender and possibly a world champion. So my final thoughts are, this fight reminded us why MMA is the greatest sport in the world. One fighter's career can completely change in one perfectly timed movement or moment. For Rafael Fiziev, this wasn't just another win. It was redemption. It was confidence restored. It was proof that the Ottoman still belongs among the lightweight elite. And for Manuel Torres, sometimes the toughest losses become the greatest teachers. The lightweight division just got more interesting. So that's going to do it for this episode of Knuckle Game Podcast. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. And leave your comment below. Who should Rafael Fiziev fight next? Should he get another top 10 opponent, or a rematch with Justin Gaethje, or someone like Dan Hooker? Or should he chase the BMF title? We'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm El Banger, and this has been Knuckle Game Podcast. Until we meet again, keep your chin down and your hands up. and keep chasing greatness. Respect the grind.